Tim Tszyu. How you
Yeah,
going, mate?
yeah,
A
good.
long time, long
Yeah.
time. I think, many years ago, I think it was pre-COVID, I did a month of fighters, and I did Brock Jarvis, and I did you, and I did Alex Volkanovski, and who else did I do? Wow, I can't remember. But I said to my producers, this kid will be world champion one day. At the stage you weren't, and Volkanovski the same, and he became world champion, and you did become world champion, and so I want to say congratulations, going back all that time, mate. I remember the first time you fought, and one of the first times I saw you fight, it might have been the first time you fought. I saw you at the Punch Bowl Club.
Yeah.
Remember that
Yeah,
joint
well,
out there near Parry Park, down the old Croatian club?
Of course.
That may have been your debut
In
pro
the-
fight.
Nah, it was in my amateur days.
Amateur days. So back to the amateur days.
Yeah.
So you would have been like 17, 18 or something. I don't remember.
Something like that.
And it's been an amazing journey for you, mate. Like,
It has.
fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
you have achieved and made it so much, and made so many Australians so proud of you. Everybody in Australia loves Tim Tszyu. Now, we got so disappointed when, one, you didn't fight Thurman because Thurman got injured. Then you fought Fundora. You copped the cut. But it was a pretty devastating thing to watch for someone like me, a fight fan, but also a Tim Tszyu fan. Very devastating. Then you had your second fight with the Russian, whose surname I can never pronounce, but I think it's Murtaliev. You lost. So you're 24-2. Is that right? 24-2. You've been really honest. You've owned it. Spencer is really a comeback fight, but it's not an easy fight.
No.
You are never been someone to shirk a hard fight. What is that with you? Like, how does it work? Because, boxing's a game, and
Yeah, I understand that, and I was advised not to go
Fighting?
into something like this by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, close people around me. But I believe in my ability. I believe I can bounce back, and boxing's a game of inches. And sometimes you have to work on those little inches and then get back into routine.
So how's your prep going? Your preparation? How's it going for April?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you feel good?
It's hard. It never gets easier. You understand your body. You understand the commitments that you have to do. It's not an easy job, It's not an
Especially
easy
once you're in
job.
the ring. That's
Yeah,
the toughest part. You're on there on your own.
when you're boxing and training and getting up each morning and getting up for each rounds, and the main thing is staying focused, and I'm not talking about staying focused as in life, staying focused in the ring. For 12 rounds, we got 36 minutes in the ring, and you got to be on every single second.
Intense.
Every single second you got to be on. And I think that's the hardest part about boxing is sometimes in those 36 minutes, you could think about something else. You could get distracted, and that's where the inches come in, and sometimes you get caught.
Do you feel as though you lost a bit of that concentration or lost a bit of that focus in, say, the last two fights? I mean, let's not worry about Fundora, because that was a bit totally odd. The whole thing was weird. I mean,
No, it was a good learning experience. The fact that I had this cut and I had something that was uncontrollable, and it was
and not used to it either.
Yeah. It was from a spot that is very hard to deal with, and I had to be able to switch and control it, and be able to get it not to distract me, which I would say 50-50. I at times I didn't, at times I did. At times I felt like I was landing and throwing and being in control, and at times I wasn't, and it was a good learning lesson. The last one, watching it back, I came in red hot. Maybe overconfidence. I felt like the Hulk. I remember in the whole preparation, I was 4 months in America. I had no wife with me. I had no one. I had just boxing. And when you're in that environment, it was like, you felt unbelievable. And I felt too unbelievable walking into that ring.
So do you think you perhaps overestimated yourself or underestimated him?
Never underestimated him. I overestimated myself.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And how does that come about? Does that come about because maybe during your preparation people that get to spar with aren't up to the level where you need to get it up to?
I think my sparring was maybe too much on point. I had young guys flying in from LA, Vegas, Mexican fellas. That we were just going bang for bang for bang for bang, and sometimes it's not needed at times, So you got to take 2 steps back and remember what you're good at.
So, Joey Spencer,
Yeah.
how much have you concentrated on his style? Because styles win fights, as you know, and that's what everybody always says. Like, how do you feel about Joey's style as a fighter? Because he's a pretty confident sort of dude.
Yeah.
And doesn't seem to be quite fearless.
Yeah, he's tricky.
He's tricky, yeah.
And he comes from a big boxing pedigree in the amateur days. So, the amateur days build a lot of fighters. And when you have someone with an experience like that, they're always tough. So it's going to be tough at first, I feel like. And I've got to be smart. Yeah,
will you take it easy? No, I don't mean take it easy,
Yeah.
but like just play it out a little bit as opposed to the last fight.
Yeah, I think instead of going straight for the main meal, I'm going to start off with my entrees. And maybe even starters as well.
And get your legs and make sure that you're okay.
I've got to feel it. I've got to feel it.
I was talking to George before and from No Limit, and one of the things I've always thought about you, and I could be wrong, but Tszyu is always a very confident fighter. He's always been very confident as an athlete.
Yeah.
In the ring, I'm talking about, and also always, in my opinion, quite deadly in terms of your whole process. Your ability to concentrate, your ability to focus on what you're doing, and I mean deadly.
Yeah.
And your brother's sort of similar. Must be a genetic thing coming through from either your mum or your dad or both of them. How do you rebuild your confidence after the last 2 bouts? And how do you rebuild your confidence? Is it by winning against Spencer, or is it before that? You rebuild your confidence before that.
I think the first 2 weeks of when something like that happened, you obviously there's doubt. It's only natural instincts.
Totally, for anybody.
For everybody.
Yeah.
And that's only natural to occur.
Yeah.
And I've felt it, but I've also not held on to it. I've sort of just allowed it to disappear and get back to how I usually feel. And I know that feeling that I feel. It sort of feels like a lion stalking its prey. And I always have that resemblance of a lion stalking its prey, of when those questions come in, of confidence, of ability, and all that type of stuff. And that's the resemblance I feel.
I'm getting a sense of a more mature Tszyu. I'm getting a sense of sort of a personal humility, like humble about yourself. Like you that's what happens if you lose something that you're expecting to win.
Yeah.
You don't survive unless you can get over yourself.
Yeah.
And a certain maturity only allows you to. When you're young, it's pretty hard to get over that stuff. But as you get older, and for the fight game, you're getting not old, but you are getting more mature.
Yeah.
Do you feel as though that Tszyu's now got a much stronger humility and understanding of himself in terms of the dude, the person?
Yeah, of course. Especially what I've had to go through, the experiences that I've had to go through, and the lessons that it's taught me.
Like people talk about resilience all the time. Resilience is being able to deal with the experience.
Yeah.
My gut feeling is I'm talking to a much more resilient Tszyu today than I've ever seen before.
Yeah, of course. I'm in a different mind frame, in a more mature mind frame, and more like a little new chapter, something to prove, not to anyone else but besides myself.
No, well, that's amazing. That's a lot of Australians are going to see this. That's that's sort of an amazing ambassador for the fight game in this country. That's probably another burden on you. You've got to carry that ambassadorship, but that sort of makes me quite proud to sit here and listen to that on behalf of everybody that will be listening to that. That's quite a incredible story that you feel that way and you built yourself that way.
A lot of people go through the same problems and issues, not on a fighting scale,
but in business, etc.
In life,
Yeah.
Not even just business in life, you know.
Yeah.
The mother that can't afford to pay rent, but she still figures out a way, you know. And everyone's in this journey of life together, and we should all just embrace it and work on it together.
Mate, that'll do me. That is amazing. No, seriously, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm actually I'm getting the hair on my back of my neck standing up. Good to see you, Tim.
No, that's just it. Yeah.